White Claw, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Boruto chapter 55 review. Alright guys, this chapter right here was absolutely insane. Now the first thing that I do have to talk about has to be the death of Kurama. The actual impact of the death of Kurama, not just in the series, but also in the fandom of Naruto, is absolutely insane. We have to give the correct respects to Kurama. Kurama literally changed the whole series of Naruto. Kurama has been a staple of the Naruto series ever since the first couple of episodes of the Naruto series. Now specifically the way he went out, I think it was super admirable. We all understood the situation that Naruto, Sasuke, and everybody else were in. They were fighting a foe, Isshiki Otsutsuki, who was beyond anything that we have ever seen before. To be honest, without the baryon mode, Isshiki Otsutsuki would have most likely won. Scratch that, Isshiki Otsutsuki would have won without the baryon mode and without Kurama doing what he did. Now not only that, Kurama actually deceived Naruto a bit. Kurama understood that if he told Naruto that the ramifications of using the baryon mode was Kurama himself dying, Naruto would either hesitate or just flat out not use the baryon mode. Now this right here is super ironic and of course a very good change of direction, mainly because at the very beginning of the series and basically even throughout half of the series, Kurama hated humans, he hated shinobis, he literally wanted to kill them, he even hated some of the telebeasts as well. And now to see Kurama 50 chapters deep into the Boruto series risking his life for those he once tried to kill is just absolutely insane. I just love the actual symbolism. I want to go out on a limb in terms of character development. I think Kurama definitely has the case of one that has the best character development in all of the Naruto series. Yes, that includes Sasuke. To go from a character of pure hatred to now literally throwing your life away to save everybody else, that's just absolutely insane. Now specifically in regards to the Boruto manga, this is like a give and take thing. I like the Boruto manga for getting straight to the point. I like the Boruto manga for actually giving us everything that we need to see and not a lot of the sentimental stuff. But in regards to this, the anime, man, is gonna be literally like 50 times better. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I haven't really cried seeing any show, but I think the way the Boruto anime is, they're gonna have actual grown men crying in this episode. Now one of the obvious things, once people do find out that Kurama is dead, people are gonna ask the question if Naruto is going to die as well. I talked about this in my spoiler video as well. Naruto seems to not actually be dying just because of the sheer fact that Kurama wasn't technically extracted. What Kurama said is once you extract the tail beast from a Jinchuriki, then the Jinchuriki will inevitably die. But instead in this situation, Kurama was depleted of his chakra, thus Naruto will still be safe. Now it's going to be the obvious question, how strong is Naruto? Is Naruto still going to be on that level? Is Naruto still going to be elite? Now my opinion, I think Naruto is still going to be a very strong character. One of the things that a lot of people do kind of forget is the fact that Naruto still has Sage of Six Path abilities. Of course some people might say it's a little bit toned down from when we did see him in the 4th grade Shinobi War. He doesn't necessarily have the truth-seeking orbs anymore, or in theory he doesn't have them anymore. We honestly don't know if Naruto is just choosing not to use them, but regardless he still has the form. One of the things that a lot of people are kind of confused about is when you see Naruto with these eyes right here, that's Sage of Six Path. Everything else in terms of the actual glowing orange, that right there was definitely Kurama. Kurama heightened the Sage of Six Path abilities, but just flat out Sage of Six Path Naruto is still a very elite character. He was literally taking on Jubimata in that form at the age of 17, wet behind the ears, breath still smelling like Similac, and didn't really know how to use almost any of the abilities. I don't necessarily want to sway you guys from the actual fact of the situation. Naruto is not going to be as strong as he once were, but Naruto is still definitely not going to be a slouch. Now the next thing I do want to talk about in this video is going to be arguably the biggest thing from this chapter in terms of actually moving forward. Code and Isshiki Otsutsuki. Code seems to be the next big villain that the rest of the team has to actually worry about. Isshiki Otsutsuki pulled up to Code. This right here was very surprising to me, not only because Isshiki Otsutsuki was already dead when this happened, but also because we now found out that Code actually has a karma seal. Now it's not necessarily going to be the exact karma seal that we did see Boruto and Kawaki have. This right here was dubbed by Isshiki Otsutsuki the white karma seal. Now I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. I want to get into the actual specifics about what Isshiki Otsutsuki and Code were actually talking about. What Isshiki Otsutsuki wants Code to do is actually follow the Otsutsuki will. Specifically, the Otsutsuki will is to actually gather up a whole bunch of chakra, the things that we basically seen Isshiki Otsutsuki, Momoshiki, and Kage try to do up until this point, and of course upgrade themselves. Now here's the thing, after Isshiki Otsutsuki went through that whole soliloquy, we seen an insane figure of this quote-unquote Otsutsuki god. This right here looks like he's gonna be obviously the GOAT, the big blood of the whole thing. I don't think that this person actually exists yet. I think that this person right here is just a theory for Isshiki Otsutsuki, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, Isshiki Otsutsuki might have been like a couple planets away from reaching this form. That's how strong Isshiki Otsutsuki actually was. But regardless, Code now carries that exact same will. Now, one thing that I did find a little bit suspicious is that Isshiki Otsutsuki was talking about this as if Isshiki Otsutsuki was like the last Otsutsuki member that had this will, and it kind of got a lot of people confused. Now, in my opinion, I think that Isshiki Otsutsuki was thinking of this as Code being a part of Ishiki's legacy, because Isshiki Otsutsuki is not going to be able to quote unquote reborn again, because of course he doesn't necessarily have another vessel to do that. If Code actually does reach the level of an Otsutsuki god, people will look at Code as being a legacy of Isshiki Otsutsuki. We've been kind of seeing this throughout the anime. It seems as though Code is like a son to Isshiki Otsutsuki, or Isshiki Otsutsuki is like a father figure to Code, and I think that this right here would symbolize that greatly. Code would just simply be walking in his father's footsteps and carrying on his legacy. Now, one thing that's kind of different from Code and Isshiki Otsutsuki, it seems that Code actually wants revenge. Now, we don't necessarily figure out exactly what Isshiki Otsutsuki said to this, because Code specifically said that he wants to figure out or wants to know exactly who took Isshiki Otsutsuki away from Code. Now, Isshiki Otsutsuki was the type of guy that was solely about the mission, to literally a detriment. He could have literally hunted Naruto and hunted Sasuke and killed them separately. Because he was so devout to the mission and because he was so cocky, it basically caught up to him. He didn't necessarily count on Kurama using the baryon mode. He didn't necessarily count on a whole bunch of stuff, but in this particular situation for Code, he wants revenge first, and then he wants to actually carry out the plan. Now, specifically, I want to talk about the plan first. Code wants to actually feed either Kawaki or Boruto to the 10 tails and then create the god tree. That's something I left out earlier, but now back to the actual topic at hand. Code named out some specific people that he wanted revenge against. Of course, Amato, Sasuke, Naruto, Boruto, and Kawaki. It's very interesting that he didn't necessarily name Kashin Koji. From Isshiki Otsutsuki's point of view, it's a very huge possibility that Kashin Koji isn't alive, so he probably didn't name him in Code, so of course Code doesn't necessarily know. But I think this right here is going to obviously be the next big thing that we do have to worry about in regards to Naruto, Boruto, Sasuke, and Kawaki. I personally think that a lot of this is going to take place after the time skip. As of right now, I think Code is just trying to get all of his ducks in order, but I think in the future, that's probably going to be the prime place for Code to actually strike. Now, specifically with the white karma seal, this right here seems to be an absolute game changer. One of the things that I do want to make absolutely clear, this karma seal right here is not a lame duck. It's not there only for show. Now, for Code, because it doesn't necessarily make Code the quote-unquote correct vessel for Isshiki Otsutsuki, because Isshiki Otsutsuki cannot reborn into the body of Code, Code might feel as though it's like a quote-unquote dud. But from what I'm seeing right here, it looks like it could do a lot. For example, the couple of things that I've done in this chapter already, Isshiki Otsutsuki was summoned from the karma seal. It's still linked to Isshiki Otsutsuki. Unlike the other karma seals that vanished, once he did actually reborn into the body of Jigen, this karma seal is stuck, and of course it was still linked to the Otsutsuki member that gave Code the karma seal. Now, we don't really know if Isshiki Otsutsuki is going to still be linked to the karma seal once he does fully pass, but that right there is going to be something very interesting to look forward to in the future. Now, not only that, it possibly allows Code to live for a very long time. What we understand is that the vessel of Jigen was alive at the time of Kage first eating the chakra fruit. From that time up until now, Jigen, the vessel of Jigen, was still alive. Now, supposedly, Isshiki Otsutsuki thinks that Code can outlive the growth of a literal god tree, which is over 1,000 years. If Code was a regular human, of course, there's definitely a possibility that he's been altered by scientific technology, but assume that Code actually did come from being an actual human being, the karma seal possibly has a very good hand in why Code could potentially live for over 1,000 years. And just by knowing the writers of Boruto, this white karma seal is most likely going to have a lot more abilities and a lot more functions that's going to make life harder for Sasuke, Boruto, and everybody else that are trying to oppose Code in his efforts of being the next Otsutsuki god. I want to make a separate video about the white karma seal. I'll probably make that sometime into the week, but I'm telling you guys right now, this right here seems to be something very interesting and a literal game changer. This white karma seal right here might even be better than the original karma seal, which is absolutely crazy to even think about. Now, the next thing that I do want to talk about, and this is actually crazy because this right here was like a minor story in the overall chapter of chapter 55, but Sasuke's Rinnegan actually seems to be gone. I talked about this a little bit in my spoilers video. I talked about the uncertainty of Sasuke's Rinnegan. As I said, Sasuke can gain his Rinnegan back in the next chapter, or he could not gain his Rinnegan back at all, and I wouldn't blink an eye. I wouldn't be surprised at all, just because of the sheer fact that Sasuke's Rinnegan is going to be tied to the will of the Boruto riders. Not to sound like Isshiki Otsutsuki, but if the Boruto riders want Sasuke to have a Rinnegan, he's going to have a Rinnegan. If the Boruto riders don't want Sasuke to have a Rinnegan, he's not going to have a Rinnegan. But of course, a lot of people are going to have the same question as they do with Naruto right now. How strong will Naruto and Sasuke be without the Nine Tails and without the Rinnegan, respectively? Now, respectfully, Naruto and Sasuke, they are still the strongest shinobis in the ninja world as of right now. I think if anybody tries to 1v1 Naruto and Sasuke, it will be an automatic body bag. If Killer Bee steps to Sasuke right now without the Rinnegan, it's a body bag. If Delta decides to step to Naruto right now, I believe that'll still be a body bag. That's just the faith I have in Naruto and Sasuke, and of course I understand that a lot of people are probably going to disagree with that, but I'm telling you guys right now, they were not 100% dependent on the Nine Tails and the Rinnegan respectively. But let me know what you guys think about this chapter in the comment section below, and give me some of your opinions about the big stuff that we did see in this chapter. Of course, the death of Kurama, the white Karma seal, and also Code and Isshiki Otsutsuki now forming this brand new team and father and son duo. But it's been your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.